We've been here since 7:45 this morning. It's almost 7:45 in the evening, but I'd come back tomorrow and do it again.
Yeah.
If they let me.
Yeah. If they were like, we can give you twice as much here, just come back again and do it again tomorrow, you'd be back in the chair tomorrow.
In a heartbeat, absolutely. Now that I've had it done once. Yep.
Very cool.
So in one of my videos, I talked about how my last hair transplant with Dr. Daniel McGrath, I had absolutely no pain. I'm talking, I didn't even take one pain pill. There was zero pain. And I had a guy comment on my video after I said that. He said, "It hurts. Don't believe it won't hurt." So I want to restate that I had absolutely no pain. And now I had 3 hair transplant surgeries. The first 2, there was very minor pain. There was not very much pain, but there was a little bit of pain. And the second surgery, I had quite a lot of swelling, and you can watch the video from that. So if you want to just see it all on video, it's right there in your face. So I had quite a lot of swelling on my second surgery. My third surgery with Dr. McGrath, I had no swelling either. It was almost undetectable, to the point that if you didn't know me, you'd have no idea that I had any swelling, and it's zero pain. So why is that, Dr. McGrath, that I didn't have any pain? Why is it that some people do have way more pain during these surgeries?
Obviously, we're making an incision or potentially extracting hair. There's a potential that someone might have pain. I will speak from my experience doing the surgery the way I do it. There's a reason why my patients very seldom need to use anything, maybe some extra strength Tylenol if they get a little bit uncomfortable that first night or two. When I'm doing my procedure and I'm doing the strip procedure, I'm removing the tissue. I am very, very careful about my depth of my incisions. I keep my incisional depth very, very controlled. Now, why is that important? Well, obviously we get done, you're going to feel like you have a cut on the skin. But if you go too deep into the tissue, you get into some of the deeper structures, the veins, the arteries, and even some of the nerves that are in that deeper layer, that gala layer, what we call the gala aponeurotica. Okay, I don't go anywhere near that when I make these incisions. We stay very superficial, just below the level of the follicles, and it's a little fatty pad, a little fat, subcutaneous fatty layer. And there's no vessels, there's no nothing in there if you're very careful and very slow with your incisions and the way you do your extraction of your tissue. There's lots of surgeons that I know do it the same way. There are some surgeons out there that can have a tendency to be somewhat indiscriminate, and they just go too deep, and it causes more bleeding, more swelling, more pain. So I can only speak from my experience, the way I do it. Very, very rarely do I get a patient that calls me back and says, "Hey, listen, I'm having really a tremendous amount of pain." I almost never get that. Having said that, pain is a very subjective thing. Some people may say, "Listen, this doesn't hurt at all," and somebody says, "No, I was kind of uncomfortable." So I think you have to take into consideration that pain can be obviously a very subjective thing. But there's a reason why I think sometimes in some hands it can hurt worse than others. As far as the swelling is concerned, one of the big components I have with my surgeries, when I do my anesthesia, when I do my injectable anesthesia, I do not buffer the lidocaine or the marcaine. Now, the lidocaine and the marcaine are the chemicals I use to do the local anesthesia. Now, when we put that in initially, when we're injecting that, it can burn a little bit. It has a little bit of a burning sensation, and we get patients through that pretty easily. I would say that's a part that patients say that they don't look forward to. But the advantage to not using that sodium bicarb solution, the reason we would use the sodium bicarb is to buffer the anesthetic so that it doesn't burn when it goes in. However, a very common side effect of using that sodium bicarb is patients get tremendous amounts of swelling in the recipient area. Their eyes sometimes swell shut. I've learned this over the years, and so to me, I think a couple of minutes of a little bit of burning is much better than getting 2 to 3 weeks of swelling that the patient has to deal with afterwards. So there are some tangible reasons why my patients may experience something different than other patients do under different circumstances with different surgeons.
Okay, then that makes sense as far as the anesthesia being different. I was watching this guy on YouTube who had surgery by Hassan and Wong, who are very reputable surgeons, but this guy's whole face, he looked like something out of Star Trek or Star Wars or something. His entire face was like this you know, just blown up, and his eyes were swollen shut. And I was like, how did this guy have the same surgery as me? You know, I mean, I look completely normal the day after my surgery. So that kind of clears it up a little bit for me. I think probably they use some of that sodium, whatever stuff.